Welcome back to Post Smut Clarity. If you've been following along, I'm gonna need some help here. How many have we done?
It depends if
How
we
many do you think when we started, when we published?
depends on how many we publish, depends on what we keep, what we don't keep.
That's true. That's true.
Uh we've
But
done
we've
some
read a handful of books now.
yeah, yeah,
We've
we
read a
have.
handful of books.
It's fair to say between 6 and 10 episodes.
That's a good number. That's a good number. So
And
this is post.
one or two more books than that, honestly. Probably,
I think
I
so.
think we've
Yeah,
read about 12 books.
I think so. I think so. So yeah, over 10 books. So we're getting pretty learned. So this is Post Smut Clarity, where me and my buddy Hiram here, best buddy Hiram here,
Thank you.
read smut books and talk about our experience with them. We're two guys never read smut before, and we are learning a ton. I feel like I've been elevated to a new space. Like I know more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah, I've texted a little bit of smut and read some in text messages, but I haven't really read it in book form. So this is somewhat new.
I don't know if I've texted smut as much as I should. I think I've only like phone smutted, not text smutted.
You have sent me some pretty.
That's probably true. That's probably true. There's been a few conversations. uh, well, today we got a good one for you. It was a good ride. It was a good ride. So today we're going to be diving into The Ritual by Chantel Tessier. Tessier.
Tessier.
Tessier sound. I think it's Tessier. Um, so this great one. It's a dark, steamy, completely wild. Kind of threw us a little bit, right? We dove kind of
Mm-hmm.
headfirst into this like dark fantasy, which is similar to the last one we read, which was
Lights out.
Lights Out. Can't remember the author. Do you remember the author?
I don't. I
Oh
don't.
man, we had to cut this from the show. Bummer. Another dark fantasy, which is similar to Lights Out, but a very different take on it. Very different take. So reading through this, we had really no idea what we were getting into. It was secret societies, possessive alphas, morally gray characters, and all of it sprinkled with some spice. Beyond that, there's like a lot of power dynamics, revenge, seriously darker themes than we're normally used to.
Mhm.
So tons to break down, tons to talk to, mainly because I think it was a possessive alpha in a different way we've seen in the past. This was a
Yeah.
new take on the possessive alpha than we've experienced.
Yeah, very much so. I wonder if we will eventually cycle out this alpha term. With the guy who had unintentionally coined it for the wolves, where he's like, actually, there isn't an alpha. There isn't an alpha wolf anywhere. I wish I'd never said that. I was wrong. I take it
It's
back,
funny how much has
please.
come out about that. Yeah, it's so funny. I wonder, because like, yeah, the idea of like alpha versus beta and like it's kind of a almost nonsensical, right? Like,
It is. I mean, who would have known that it would have been pulled into like human culture? That sounds stupid, but into our culture, out of wolf culture into human culture, um, and then to be adopted by men, like the toxic masculinity, and be like, "Oh, bro, I'm an alpha. You're a beta. She only wants alphas."
I think adopted by like industry, by like commerce. I feel like, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think uh, like it's commercially used. Like
it
products are
does.
sold through this, which we're both in that space. So like I know I've used it in the past to sell products, for better or for worse. Um,
We are in different spaces, sir. I would never ever use alpha
I always say
as
like
probably.
I've sold my soul a long time ago. I gotta win it back one day. Uh,
That's what
but
this
no, it's
is. This
this
is
is it.
purgatory. You are repenting for all
Healing,
those alpha
redeeming.
sins.
Yeah. But no, I think that's what this book really. And again, alpha may not be the term, but like this like hyper idealistic view of what a powerful male looks like,
Yeah.
and like that's what this book explores in a way that I was not transparently comfortable with at the beginning of the book. And I think we both discussed that. That was kind of like my biggest first impression was that is like I'm not comfortable right now at the beginning of the book.
I texted you right off the bat and I was like, yo, what the fuck are we reading here? This is this is gnarly. I don't know how I feel about all this.
Yeah.
And where's the redeeming, where's the redemption for this main character, the male main character? It does, we do get it. And I do appreciate, I
Mhm.
appreciate the arc. I would not want to be this main character, or I wouldn't want anyone to equate me to Riot. I would be
Put
like,
myself into Riot's shoes. Usually
ever.
I do, and I didn't this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think that was like the biggest shocker is kind of like the jarringness that it started with, and I like again I'm comparing it to the most recent book we read, Lights Out, where that protagonist, like, we got the internal monologue constantly, like we knew exactly what was going on in his head and in her head, like both protagonists. I guess they're both protagonists, right? But like in both main characters, we knew what was going on in their head, so it was a constant feeling of safety for the reader. Like you're brought along the whole time, even though you're still on the edge of your seat, but you felt good the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, and even some of the things that were like pushing the envelope, where you're like, ooh, this kind of, this is, you're a stalker, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
you are a stalker.
it was like she handled it was Navessa Allen.
Yeah, that's
The
Alan.
author, she handled it so well that like it was enjoyable and it was kind of fun, and it was a better space to be like, okay, this is, I would never do this, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
we could think about it, and that's kind of a fun
totally,
place to
totally.
be.
It kept it lighter. This one though, like, and I think purposely so, kept the beginning, uh, Riot, the male character, like, we didn't know him, and we don't get to know him until the character gets to know him. And so like that's what kept it scary, I feel like, and kept it like, oh shoot. And
Mm.
like from I think us, like male perspective reading, again, we're putting ourselves in probably the male character's shoes, and we're like, oh, this is sketchy. Like, I'm not gonna do this. Right. Like it was different. It was very different.
Yeah, again, and maybe this is terrible of me, but I put myself in this position of like, would I be okay if I knew that one of my sons was acting this
Yeah.
way? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not at all. This is super sketchy. I would never, yeah, that would make me feel
Yeah.
really weird as a father. But I'm probably not supposed to inject myself into these stories that way.
I think, I mean, that's part of reading, I feel like. That's part of fantasy, right? It's like we are exploring how we would deal with certain situations. So I think it's fair. It's fair. And we've talked about this a lot of times where, and now we're kind of diving into themes early, but that that's what fantasy is like exploring complex topics through characters, through settings, through other
Yeah,
worlds. And that's what this
yeah.
is, right? Like this is a complex desire that is not easily put into words or expressed. And so we learn about it. Sorry, FedEx is here.
Actually, Erin, your wife, is really one of the leading characters in behind this podcast,
Yes, yes. And
pushing
yeah,
us
that's what,
into this space.
yeah, totally. And I think she was the one that she rated this book highly. So she does
Hmm.
Goodreads, so she has like a list. She reads like 20 books a day. She's a voracious smut reader.
Do you
And
know? Do you know what her? Don't say it here. Do you know what her Goodreads name is? Like, have you seen all of her ratings?
I have. Uh, so when we read a book, I look at her rating and I kind of get a sense of like where we're going.
I
And
love
so
that.
this one she rated highly. And when we first started reading, I went to her. I was like, "What did you like about this book?" And she was like, I don't remember because she reads so many. She like halfway remembers all of them, this far out. She probably read this a year plus ago.
Yeah.
And so she didn't quite remember. She was like, I thought it was good. I don't know. But as further into the book, I was like, oh, I started understanding, and then like it turned into good discussions, like of like what she liked about it in general. But yeah, that's what's interesting is like I think that's the core kind of thing I'm learning through this experience of reading Smut and talking about it is like the core of female desire is different than what I think 90% of males assume it is.
For
Um,
sure.
and
For
I think
sure.
that's so powerful to even just begin to understand, like not pretending like I understand what female desire is, but I think I'm learning a little bit about it through these books. And it's a pretty interesting experience, and I feel like something that a lot of guys could probably learn from.
Turns out I know nothing. And all of my assumptions have been wrong. All this
I'm
time
yeah.
I have spent honing these other skills, these bow hunting skills, these alpha skills, really.
Alpha skills, not quite the ones they're looking for. But I think that's what's wild. Like again, it's back to the like the themes of fantasy, right? Like
Mm.
the male fantasy is expressed through extreme violence,
Yeah.
right? Like, and this is painting broad strokes, just to be clear. Like, not everyone experiences everything the same way, but in typical male form, if you read a fantasy book that is targeted towards males, violence and even brutal, extreme violence, something that you wouldn't really want a kid to interact with, right? Is a big part of it. And we engage with that like it's nothing. Like we're like, wow,
Yeah.
yeah, you're exercising this weird part in your brain that wants to deal with this, and wants to like unpack it somehow, right? Again, it's a complex idea explored through a world and a group of characters. This is that as well. And it's just weird to be this uncomfortable from a male perspective, right?
We've talked a bunch about this, and I every time it's such a fascinating topic because it's so foreign, but it's this exploration of feelings and emotions that is so foreign to men, I think, in general. Again, using really very broad strokes, but those things are foreign and not normal for us to navigate and to like sit in and be like, hey, this is kind of like a fantasy area that I want to play in.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Ironically, even Riot as a character is kind of like a caricature of this experience. Like I
100%.
feel like men don't have feelings, but anger is the only feeling men have in this like broad strokes world, and Riot is that. Like
I
he
would
doesn't really.
say, I would say too, right? There's like hyper protection
Yes, yes.
and anger. It's like those two, because I think underneath
Possession almost like it's like what's the emotion there? Protection maybe is better. I think protection is kind of the emotion. Yeah,
possession, like
possession. Oh, that's good.
but I think I'm struggling trying to decide whether or not possession is above protection or if protection is above possession. I think in this book, it's probably more so possession above protection, which that's where it feels a little like, oh,
It
this
feels off.
is,
It could feel off.
I don't know about this. And I think that's in Lights Out, it was more protection above possession. It was more
Yes,
of like, we do this together, we're a team.
yes,
Like,
yes. He didn't. It didn't. It felt equal,
yes,
and I think it
yeah,
was very on purpose. Like even physically equal. Like she had taken jujitsu and combat classes, so she was physically able to take care of herself as well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so
Very
like
much
there's a
so.
lot of work done to equate them.
Yes, yeah, and that is not the same in this one. In fact,
Against
it's like
domination, yeah.
oftentimes she's taking drugs that he's given her, GHB, which we
Part
didn't know
was
ahead.
really difficult for me. Like honestly, like I was like, he's roofing her, but like it's consensual roofing, and I'm like, that's chill. That's you. Don't yuck the yum, as to quote Hiram.
Is there such a thing as consensual roofing? Because
If there
I
is,
mean,
this book explored it because she is like, remember, there's a scene where he gives her water, and she's like, I kind of like thought it was a roofie again, and was like disappointed a little bit. Was like, oh, I thought I was getting roofied again. Ooh, eh,
it was a spit take moment. She drank it, was like, "What is this? Just
yeah,
water?"
water.
Oh
Exactly.
God.
But dude, what I love about it is like, okay, the first half of the book, he is the worst. Like he's like
Oh yeah.
let's go into him real quick. Like he's part of a group called the Lords, which is a
Yes,
secret society.
Nettie. Let's go into Riot.
Dude, I want to be inside of Riot.
These are the texts that you send me where I'm like, what is this that you're saying to me
What
right
is
now?
this? Is this innuendo or?
Fingers inside you? Okay.
Well, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. So the Lords of the Secret Society, right? Super. Here's a critique I will give with that is like at the beginning it was like it's so secret that you can't talk about it, and all we really know is that like it's secret, I'm in it, and I have to do whatever they say. It's kind of like really the synopsis there, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't talk about Fight Club, and I'm in it, and I have to do what they say because this is a like familial, almost mob like, cult like thing. And you kind of are thinking you're going to get more like layers pulled out, but you don't really get any like deeper into the cult or like into this like group. And I think I would critique that. This is a series; it might get better later, but I would say like I wanted to understand this like ritual, this whole thing felt very like there's something, there's meaning, there's mysticism, there's like stuff behind it, but it didn't go into that at all, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Give us the hierarchy. Like
Yes.
this is so stupidly ingrained with like the founding fathers and like the skulls and the stonemasons and like
It
all
allured to
this.
everything we know about secret society, so it did good about like hearkening to all of that, but it didn't give us any meat. It just was like, hey, you know about the Illuminati, right? This is kind of like that. You know about skull and crossbones, kind of like that, but sexier, right? And it's like, all
It
right,
was like, have you read Dan Brown? Good, good,
yeah,
good. Use that
yeah,
as background for
think about
Illuminati secret societies. Reference that in your mind,
yeah,
because we're not going to talk about anything unique there.
yeah, because like even the ritual itself, like is very brutal and kind of like you're like,
Jesus,
whoa.
yeah.
It was pretty brutal, but like it didn't have enough depth to it to give it some kind of redemption, which I think was fine. Like it kept it dark, so it didn't need to be redeemed necessarily, but it also didn't progress the lords more.
No, so let's talk about the ritual since it is the name of the book and it is super. It is a really important part of the book. It is what brings Blakely and Riot together. It is also something that it was very very problematic for me because it doesn't. I can't reconcile any of it emotionally, like intellectually. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Okay, so the ritual. So the Lords, secret society, reference, what you've learned from Dan Brown, and it starts in college, and it starts. I don't. What isn't clear is it only this college? Is it some Ivy Leagues? Is it only
Again,
again
and is it like is it specifically a fraternity thing, or is it like is it larger like the stonemason kind of thing? Like it doesn't really go into that.
the Alpha Brothers, Alpha Lords?
The,
Um,
the alpha holes.
yeah, it doesn't give you any of that. It's to this college, and you join as a freshman, and then then as soon as you join, you are a celibate. It doesn't matter if you've had sex before. You need to stop having sex as soon as you join, and then for those first 3 years that you're there, they send you on missions, on quests, and they're extremely violent quests. And then in your senior year, they're like, you have been such a good boy. You may take a woman that you can do anything you want to with. She is a um like
Agency is gone. Yeah.
yeah, she's fully a possession, and that is supposed to be completely understood by these women before they were to ever become a chosen one
They
or a
apply
chosen.
to it. Like they
Yeah,
apply to the chosen program.
yeah,
And it's like
yeah.
at the end of the book, they even express that like parents are kind of involved. Like there's a selection process.
Blakely's parents, or yeah, her parents were absolutely involved.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so it's just like complete ownership. Like this is objectifying a woman to the most insane extent, where you have full control over her body, and she has zero say. And they're not married. They're not
Yeah.
like there's no commitment outside of like a temporary
Yeah.
disgusting relationship.
Yeah. 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 And I think it goes even further to like complicate this whole thing, right? Is like in within the lords, they kind of have arranged marriages. So like another layer to this is like your chosen is unlikely your wife as well. It's like they know kind of who their wives are going to be after this. So like they know that their chosen is just a possession, and that after this year they will then get married to their like arranged marriage, which was probably someone else's chosen,
Yeah,
which is
do
really
they
wild.
it's super fucked up. Do they make that clear that it's for a year, like chosen as like a
I'm pretty sure
see?
it's just the senior year. Yeah. I'm pretty
Cool.
sure it's just a
Okay.
senior year. And so it's like a year of, submission for this woman and possession for this man. And yeah, yeah, pretty intense, pretty intense. I think that's why
Yeah.
this was hard for, I think, from our perspective to understand is just like that full release of agency feels feels hard to like grapple with.
Yeah, it feels like such a giving up of all of your agency and control of yourself and like ability to set your own boundaries.
Totally.
Eh, and for what it like for nothing though. That's what like there is no exchange of value. And not to say that like that would make it okay. I mean, maybe it does, maybe it does. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I'm objectifying the chosen situation. In that like what do the women get? They get nothing. They get nothing. They get used and abused and then like it's
What comes next comes next. Yeah.
yeah, so okay, so this it doesn't make sense. Okay, so the way that this works, right? They have a big ritual, invites go out somehow. Somehow like these are like, "Hey, would you like to go to the ritual? Would you like to be a chosen?"
Oh, the one
Um
that they found.
mhm.
So at the end of the book, they actually speak to that. That was doctored. The invites aren't real. Riot and who's his friend? Um,
I can't. I just listened to his name too. I can't remember.
Riot and his friend like Photoshop these invites for Blakely and her friend to find them. They're
Oh,
not
okay.
real. They're not real. So like you don't get an invite to become a chosen. Like it's an application
Mm,
process. So like these women
mm.
are applying and there's apparently a long list and not everyone gets picked on that list.
Okay. Okay. That makes it even weirder. So full disclosure, I did not finish the last 30 minutes of this book. So that's why I'm like, yo,
It's
what?
a lot kind of like boom culminates at the end where it's like, oh, lies, twists, oh, this person, that person. It gets a little weird at the end. But like that's the redeeming factors of Riot, just to like pivot us a little bit, is like he is very honest with her the whole way through. Becomes honest with her. He's not honest with her at the beginning. He
There
becomes
you go.
very honest with her in a space where she has no honesty. Her parents aren't honest with her. Her life's crazy. Her life's all over the place. Matt, who's the like the villain of the story, is her childhood boyfriend or like high school sweetheart.
They have an arranged marriage,
They
Matt
have an arranged
and
marriage
Blakely.
within the Lord's system. So
Yep.
like he's
Yep.
already tangled in the Lord's world, unknowingly, right? And so like she's already highly involved in this. Everyone's lying to her in some way, and Riot continually, when pressed, tells the truth. So like he kind of becomes at the end the only stable truth in her life, and he, in his like alpha possession of her, becomes a pillar of safety. And that's the nugget of desire inside of this what feels like sketchy chaos.
It's fucked up. I'm sorry. It's fucked up because it's like, look, oh, like he's giving you a little bit, like he's kind of safe.
Well, I think
Um,
it's the transition from like monster to safety. Like this, the journey of
uh,
like this person is completely unsafe, and Blakely inadvertently tamed this beast.
yeah,
And that's I think there's a little allure there,
there
right?
is,
Like
there is. Oh no, 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 there. I get some of it. I do get some of it.
it's I mean
Truly,
I get where you're coming from. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just saying like I'm sorry that this is what I mean by like I'm 90% of men misunderstand women's desire. It's like this is a very popular book. My wife included gave it a higher rating, and like this is what desire is part of desire.
okay. So let's get back to the ritual and why it's so confusing, right? Okay,
Yes. And it
why
is
it's so
confusing.
confusing because he's known her for like 2 weeks. It starts where she really dislikes Riot, although he's super handsome. He's got green eyes. He's got green eyes.
Oh,
um
you handsome devil.
and he weasels his way into her life. He watches her. We get uh the first kind of sex scene. He jacks off in his car watching her.
Yeah. Yeah. Watching her silhouette. Like can't even see her, just like the silhouette of her body. And he's like, I can't take it.
You know, to be young again.
But I think that that little window is speaking still to like what we're saying is like his extreme like he desires her so much
Yes.
that a
She and
silhouette.
we'll come back to this because
Yeah.
she does talk about that. He talks about that. And it is my favorite scene of the book. That one.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's I think that
Um
scene is so important. It's the scene of the whole book, I feel like.
yeah. Okay. So they have essentially like 2 weeks where he wins her over to the point that she agrees to go to the ritual, knowing that it is a weird, fucked up ceremony for women. She's so spited by Matt that she's like, I'm going to go do this. Goes to the ceremony, in, in which then she is immediately handcuffed to the point where she's like straight tears. It's so tight. Straight tears. Yeah. And it goes right into the ritual. It starts with a vow where the woman pledges herself to the man. He does not have to pledge himself to her at all. And then he is supposed to take her either orally, anally, or vaginally. And
To penetrate an orifice.
yep, yep. And to Riot's credit, he does this throughout the book, which this reinforces some safety. He's like, I don't want anyone to ever see my woman, like I don't want anyone to ever see her indecently, like she's mine, she belongs to me, she's no one else's. This is like the intense possession kind of. I get this part. I'm like, this is where I'm like, okay,
I
I get
got it.
that.
I got
All
it.
right, Riot.
All right.
Jeez.
Well,
um
stop when you're finished.
yeah, yeah. And then cut to she's being baptized both in the water and by his dick and semen. And that like he face fucks her. um
Like, did you visualize like a church with like a pool in the
I
middle? Like,
did.
it's such a like. I don't think they say those words. They might, but like, it's with the picture that's painted. It's like this is a cathedral with like pews, and there's a
Yeah.
pool in the middle, and they're just fucking in the pool.
So you have never been to a baptism at a Mormon church?
No, I haven't. I have not experienced a Mormon baptism.
Because there is a pool and there is like a there are like there's a seating area.
Because I so
There's
I
a it is set up for this perfectly.
because I only have one experience with this. I'm a Protestant, grew up. Um, the baptism. So like, there's this stage right here. There's a pulpit, and the baptism pool is behind all of that, kind of
Oh
elevated. So it was like more of like it was just really showy. You could only see it was kind of far away. This I imagine like where the stage is. That's where the pool is. Is that how it is?
no.
Like, what's it like in a
You know,
Mormon?
this generally, okay, at least the churches that I've seen the baptismal font in, yeah, it's a
Okay,
room or it's a whole area,
for
and
this,
it's like, yeah, it's like a spa, like a giant, like a giant tub, and there's a mirror set up so you can actually see
you can see everything. Yeah.
everything. So you see, like, it is
Hey,
meant to
this is
be.
it. You're literally painting the picture.
That's why when you were like, "Did you picture this?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I did."
I didn't picture it. I've been there.
I have lived it.
Dude,
Um,
that makes it more wild. But like, I think that's important. That it's like it's not just this like kiddie pool in like a dorm room. It's like this is a cathedral meant for a ritual.
yeah, yeah, and the ritual is in part that everyone sees you take your chosen, like physically take your chosen
Yeah.
sexually, yeah, and so he spares her by only, forcing her to blow him, uh, in front of everyone else, and then they leave. But like, there's like a host of other lords there who are, they give a scene for each, like someone who vaginally had sex with their chosen, another one anal sex with their chosen. Like they
And
show it all.
I think even was it Matt's where he almost drowned her. Um,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
like
Matt
leaves her
nearly
underwater too long, and she almost
holy
drowns. Yeah,
Yeah, and Riot is like, objection.
yeah, yeah. I object.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
her breathe. Let her breathe. And then everyone was like, what? Matt, or Riot,
Get
you're
a,
not supposed to say shit right now.
get a load of this guy. What is he doing? Yeah,
Let
yeah.
her breathe. Let her breathe. What it like? Come on. Again,
We think they're people or something.
yes, again, what there is no redeeming value of ritual for women. Like it is fucked up. It is like it's toxic masculinity played out to a T. It is so
That's
fucked up.
that's what's missing from the story to me. That's like the lure of the lords is missing depth because like
As a woman, why join it?
yeah,
Why join? Like it's
at the
fucked
end of the
up.
book, Blakely's mom is like a powerful figure. It comes out her biological mother is a powerful, so spoiler, is a powerful figure in the Lords. So like women do hold power, but we don't know why or how, and like what the ritual
You
was
don't also have to have been a chosen to become a lady.
to become a lady.
That
Yeah. So like
that's what's fucked up. So
they're not tied together.
why be a chosen? There is
There
no
has and
reason.
that's the depth that's missing. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even think it would take too much to like kind of connect some dots to
Mm.
be like, here's the value at the end. Here's why you would risk this or be treated poorly.
Or like,
uh,
yeah, like
yeah.
there's crazy parties all year long and only the chosen get
Like
to
you
go to
never
like
they pay for your college if you do it, right? Like there's
right,
something
right.
that comes through this, right? Even as simple as that, right? And that's what they did, I think, in the book was they made it make sense for Blakely. Like it was clear why she did
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
why it made sense for her and why it was redeemable. But what the book lacked was the larger redemption of the lords. And I think even the end of the book doesn't do that. The end of the book makes the lords feel worse, not better. Like so uh Riot becomes better in spite of the lords, not because of the lords. And I think it could have been almost together. Like it could be like, actually, we misunderstood the lords, and they're actually okay society. Like it's like the mob, right? Where like, yeah, it's terrible they murder people, but they also have really strong family ties, and when you're in, and we take care of our own. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought where it was going, but it didn't really go that direction.
It's like, nah, there's really no great reason to be part of this. Although all the lords will push their kids into being part of it.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the namesake of the book, the ritual, it makes zero sense. It's, it is, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, I don't, that was a part of the book where I texted you and I was like, hey, when are you gonna invite me to your ritual?
Yeah.
What kind of
Oh
no,
man.
it was like, what is this book? And
That's again like what like many critique online the same thing where it's like that's where what's lacking is until after and we'll get to the scene. I think that the important scene that kind of like starts to clarify the picture for why Blakely feels good about any of this. um we don't know until that scene. Like that scene really like opens up and makes everyone kind of like breathe a sigh of relief of like, oh, she's choosing this because like XYZ, right? And like that's that until that point, it's rough. It's rough, right? You're like, oh my gosh, she's like there, she's being treated poorly, and like I get the like again at the end of the book, I get the desire, and I can start to paint a picture, but up until that point, I'm not on the ride yet.
yeah, I feel like every romance novel has this scene at least once, and some romance novels have it multiple times,
Yeah,
where where you're like, okay,
it's okay.
it's consensual,
Yeah,
got it.
and
She's good with it. Ah, whew, okay,
I
we're
think that's what it is. Like it's the like the agency has to be taken back by the woman, or it feels sketchy,
yeah.
right? And like again, these are books written by women, so like they obviously know what they're doing. But like it's
But it does happen. There's like every book that we've read so far has again at least
100%.
one scene where you're like, ha, okay, it's consensual. We're
Totally,
good.
totally. And I think
Everything's
that's
okay.
what makes it like dark or not so dark is how early you get that. Right? Like if you get it early, you're like, this is a friendly book. I'm happy. Let's keep going. It's Beauty and the Beast. Uh, or you get it like this book, like more towards the end, and you're like, oh God, I thought it was never going to happen. Like, this,
I've got to say, Pucking Around had that consensual, one of those consensual scenes. They had a couple where it was dark, but I don't think female readers understood how dark it was. Where it was like she was like, I hate, and it's like mid him being forced to suck this guy's dick, and it cuts to his point of view, and he's like, nah, it was consensual, it's good.
I can't wait to do this. I was so scared.
So glad I got
Yeah,
forced into this. I'm so
yeah,
happy.
yeah.
Anyways, cut back to the female main character.
I think that one was an unintentional heightened scene from the male perspective.
Yeah, that one was like, oh god, this is so dark. Um, yeah, so I think every book has at least one
Yep.
scene of consent where then it's like this is everything's kind of cool. I mean, TBD, right? Maybe not. Maybe
Oh,
we'll come
maybe we'll see
across.
where it's not. Agreed, agreed. But every like even like the most so far the most like more extreme book, Credence, like it still had that like where like she's expressing consent regularly. So you don't
Yeah,
feel. I mean, the whole situation on that one is like so like it's icky more than even dark. I would say like it feels icky. I would like it's different than dark. I feel like,
yeah.
but
That one felt like the consent was unreliable, where she was like, "Wow, generally everyone's first time is so terrible, but my first time with my uncle was so good."
great. Yeah, and, and it was like this
Ugh.
weird mental acrobatics of like uncle but not uncle, like father figure but not father figure. Like, and I get it was again it was an exploration of topics, right? Of extreme feelings, but oof, was it rough?
Yeah,
Was
that's
it
an
rough?
episode that we're not gonna probably post because that
That
one
would
was
probably
weird.
we could probably revisit it later, but it's not one that's live because that was a hard one to get through. That was a hard one to get through.
That yeah, that one was just tough. And I don't like. I think it's better not to post that because it's just like let we don't need to enter that space. We were
No, let
felt
bygones be bygones.
yeah yeah. You know what?
We
It's
dipped our
okay.
toe in, and just the water wasn't fine. It was a little too cold. I wasn't really about it.
No.
But let's dive
Okay,
into kind of like the main scene, like the main scene that does this for us, that creates consent.
okay. And this is my favorite scene. Anyways, cut to
Cut to
Blakely. She is running in the woods. She gets raped and she loves it. That's my favorite scene.
it's great. It's a beautiful scene.
um, no, that is she's having a dream, and she has this rape fantasy that's played out. And what makes this a more nuanced scene and more interesting, and what brings this like different level of consent and understanding into it is again it's super weird in that she wakes up like she has a full on sex dream, right? The rape scene,
Yeah.
which is a little bit of fantasy for her. She wakes up, she's like and then like walks out of her room and is like, oh Riot, you're here. And she's like, he's like, yo, you were either masturbating or something else. So she's like, I didn't know you're gonna be here. You've kind of just showed up in my space here.
Did he forbid
Weird.
her from masturbating too, or something? Like you're not
Yeah,
allowed.
and he's like, you're not allowed to be touching yourself if I'm not there. Um, which there was a small part of her that was like, okay, hot, but also no, I wasn't. And then she's like, I had a sex dream. And then he's like, tell me, forces her to tell her or tell him. And she goes through it and she's a little embarrassed by it. She's like, like I've always had this kind of strange dream where someone's chasing me and then they rape me. She goes into more detail. It's not quite so like cut and dry.
Hey, I ran away and they
And he's
raped me.
like, yeah. And then so initially in that chapter, it's the very end of the chapter, or at least in the Audible. She gives like a description like of why women have some of this fantasy and why it's okay and then why it's normal. And she does a really good job. Like I really do appreciate it.
I
This
think
is
that
this is a great exploration.
they did a great job of not just like she expresses, and this I think is a really powerful moment. Like she explains why she likes it and why it kind of like is a fantasy for her in a way that makes sense. And I think we can jump into a little bit more in depth, but this like freedom through surrender kind of thing, where like she feels freed by giving up agency when it's her choice. So like there's a little piece there, but I think what I really liked about it is she expressed it herself, and then she expressed shame because of Matt. So Matt, her
Yeah,
ex-boyfriend, shamed her. Did you want to jump in? Because like this is good. I think it's like shamed her specifically
yeah,
about this.
yeah. And she does make it super clear too, where it's like it's not about the rape or being raped. No, like it isn't that she wants to be raped. It's this like someone wanting her so much that they can't control themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then I'm like, "Dude, I get that. I appreciate that. Like that is hot. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah. Well,
really
it's like
like I can
being
get
the
into that.
object of ultimate desire
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
amazing,
It's
right? Like,
like, yeah, you turn someone like someone where like I can't control myself. I want you so badly in a safe space that then is like, okay. Okay, so then that chapter ends again, at least in Audible, and then the next one starts, and the next one starts where it's a like a memory of her and Matt, and she tells Matt she has this exact same scenario basically, and tells Matt about her dream, and Matt is like, "Oh, gross! Like you're disgusting. How could you like that?" And it mortally wounds her, understandably, right? Because
yeah, yeah.
dreams are fucked up.
She was unsure of herself by having it in the first place, right? And
She
he
was being so vulnerable with him, and he took that vulnerability and was like, fuck all this shit.
garbage.
Yeah. Ew, you're
Ew,
gross.
keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. However, I will rape people, rape women, and I think it's wonderful.
I'll do this
That's
myself.
fucked up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so like we get that, and then it kind of cuts to or cuts back to that moment between her and Riot, where Riot's like, "What were you just dreaming?" I can tell it was something super sexual.
yeah,
Cuts back to that, and then we then understand like she was retelling that memory to Riot. And then Riot, you had said this earlier. Riot then like here's the redemption arc of Riot, and where we get to see that he's not a total piece of shit and that he has some dimensionality. It's very like two-sided where he'll talk so much shit on Matt, and that is very hyper masculine and be like, Matt doesn't know shit about fucking women. Like that's a fantasy, and then like what a loser, he doesn't
he
like.
doesn't get it, bro. Everybody knows this. Yeah,
Oh bro, you don't ever kink shame someone.
yeah.
No, you gotta turn into it, and that's how you have the best sex of your life.
Uh,
There was that part where you're like, yo, and
relax, relax.
we
Yeah,
get it,
yeah.
we get it. Matt probably also has a small penis and he doesn't know how to use it. We get it. You're right.
Uh,
um and then it blossoms into this like what I thought was a really nice understanding and connection between Riot and Blakely, where he's like, none of that is wrong, and you're not weird. You shouldn't yuck anyone's yum, and everyone has this. Everyone has these things that they're embarrassed about, or that are they feel weird, or they're like, I don't understand why this kind of turns me on, but I want to explore some of it, but it doesn't feel safe to explore. And he's like, that it doesn't mean you want those things, but it's wrapped up in this pleasure sensor of in your brain, and like there's elements of it that tie out to sexuality, and that's okay.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having those things.
You can explore this if you want to, and that's huge.
It is. I feel like that little that little scene in those descriptions should be used in general for romance novels, where it's like, yo, this doesn't
And the
these
disclaimer part of
yeah, where it's like, hey, there are some weird concepts that get explored here, and there's some shit in here that you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Don't take it like that. And this is a safe place to explore all these things. It doesn't mean that like that you want to be raped. Doesn't mean that you want to be with your uncle. Doesn't mean that like
exactly. It's
it might mean that you're a dragon and that you want to be fucked by a unicorn. It may mean those things.
it might mean that.
But it doesn't mean all these other hyper judgy fucked up
Right,
things.
right, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think this is the best. So like this book, that aspect of the book was the best explanation for this space I've experienced, I've come across.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
It unlocked a lot because like we've been talking about it, we hadn't put good words to it yet, but this scene opened that whole space. I was like, oh yes, okay, I get it. And I think in a lot of different ways. So like it was honestly like this part was masterful. I feel like so she's ashamed, she's ashamed by this enemy, and then the heroine of the story smooths it over by becoming the safe space. Uh,
Hero. He was the hero. I
a
like that you
heroine.
called
I
me.
guess it makes. I guess you don't use the word heroine in this context. Heroine, hero.
Well, I mean, you're talking about Riot?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the heroine. That's the female hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've
but
been
that's
using it wrong
why
my whole life. The hero of the
that's.
story.
But
The
that's. I feel
female
like that
hero.
they've thrown that out now, and that's why there's the female main character. There's the male main character.
Got it. So I don't
Um,
use that anymore. The
well,
main.
I don't know
The,
if it's not okay, but
I've been misusing that for sure, for sure. Well, the hero of the story smooths it out by normalizing it and saying it's okay. And so like it does two things at the same time. It makes the reader feel safe again and understand their fantasies, and it makes him this dangerous, like dark figure into safety. Like he now means safety because we created an enemy, which is Matt and Shame, and he is now safe and honest. And like
yeah.
it does it in such a clean and like quick way that you're like, oh, it unlocked. And I thought that was so well done. And this is part of that like female desire space where I was like feeling safe to explore yourself in whatever way that means is like ultimate female desire. It's kind of
Feelings.
wild.
It's that like safety within feeling out of control.
Yeah, yeah. Like
I
I
I
could do
think
anything.
I like this is me bringing my like masculine energy into it, so dig it with a grain of salt.
I'm doing the same.
Um, where like I would, to other male listeners, I don't think there's a way to create that scenario of safety within like being completely out of control. There's no way to create it. I think it happens and you cannot create it because it's kind of lightning in a bottle.
Well, I think it's what Riot did. It's it's when the lightning strikes, you're ready to bottle it. It's how you react to the moment
Yeah,
of insecurity or like so
I like that.
Blake stepped into the darkness. She's put herself out there and was like, I'm ashamed of this. I think it's crazy and I'm embarrassed. And he was like,
Yeah.
you know what? You shouldn't be embarrassed. You could be whatever you want, and I'm here to do it with you. And that was the lightning in a bottle, right? Like he did not flinch. He did not say, ooh, explain it more, please. He was just like, hey, fuck Matt. And this is dope, actually. Let's do it. You're awesome. Let's be this. So like all of a sudden, like the weight that she was carrying her whole life is gone. Right. And like, that's the lightning in a bottle. And I think we all as men in, heterosexual relationships, or actually, honestly, any relationship have the ability to capture that lightning. Like it's probably happening all the time, right? Like in different layers, different like measures of
Yeah.
danger, but like where your partner will come out and be like, I'm embarrassed by this, or I'm feeling vulnerable, or I'm weak here. And if you step in and you're like, dope, this is fine, I got you, you captured it. You created that safety in chaos.
I love that. I love that. I also love it because I think where we go awry all the time is there, I think generally we'll feel this very protective nature over weird things. And it's
Yep.
like you step in to be like, I'm going to be protective here.
Accept that.
And yeah. Your partner's like, I don't need that. Like,
Yeah, not for me, not what I need. It's no,
stop. Not what I needed right now. And you're
this
like, oh, I
is
was trying to protect you. I felt like I was being like
you're hitting
important.
it on the
And
head. Like this is the 90% that I'm talking about. Like, and I'm talking to myself here. Like, I'm not even
yeah,
like, I'm not saying I'm leveled up or anything, but like, this is what I've been misunderstanding my whole life. Right. And these books are unlocking this in my brain. Like, we should write a book after this because that's what we all do is we're like, let me build walls of safety around us so that you will never feel in danger. but we don't know the boundaries of the danger. Like we're literally just making up boundaries.
Or if it actually feels
Yeah,
dangerous.
like we're just building walls because we're assuming a lot. And so like we're creating almost a lack of safety by not listening to the danger, right? Like we made assumptions of danger and built an unsafe environment. Fuck. This is crazy, right? Like this is what is every time I read one of these books, it's breaking my brain. I'm like, I totally did not get this at all. And I love it. This is the best part of the whole experience.
God damn it, guys, what are we doing? Um, no, like I am in a really great relationship with someone right now. Um, that I care deeply about. And there are moments where I'm like, hey, I'm feeling like this is coming from a place where I feel super protective of you. Like this is me being hyper protective,
Yeah.
but here's what I'm feeling. And I do feel like that helps where I'm like, oh, like
Label
I
it.
feel these giant feelings. I
Yeah.
have big emotions right now because I want to be protective of you. I also don't know if that's what you want, if you're feeling those things, if this is,
Communicating it is so
yeah.
important. And like that's where you're like you didn't just start building the wall. You said like, "Hey, I think I want to build a wall here to protect you."
I've, I feel like I did start
You
building it
you
and then
started putting blocks.
I look back, I'm like, oh,
Oh shit.
building this wall because
Yeah. I've
I'm
started it.
wanting to be
Just let me
protective of you.
know.
Should I keep going? Should I stop? What's what's
I
going
think
on
that's the
here?
reality of it. Like what you're expressing is the reality of it. Cause like it's easy to say like, oh, just ask and just listen. Like that's like it's easy to say that when you're not living it. But like what you did is the key is like when you can start to talk about the fact that like I feel a certain way right now. And this interaction that happened, whatever it may be, I felt like I should do this because I like you so much, because I want to protect you so much.
Yeah.
That like that's a appropriate way to express. Just
Yeah.
doing the protection creates unsafe, like the lack of
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah, it does. It does because you're taking away like their own ability to deal with the
Engage
situation,
in thing
navigate the
again, right?
situation.
Yeah.
Like to your point, you are building either walls or you're like, yeah. And to be clear and to be fair, I feel like for sure 50% of the time it's like, yeah, you don't need to do that. Like I'll say that and it's like, you're good. No, I'm fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very kind. That's very sweet of you. But no, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
But I do think
that's
expressing it
good.
feels good. Like hearing it, like I want to protect you, and this is how I thought of protecting you. It still feels good. I'd be like, that's amazing. Don't do it, please. But I love it. Like, thanks for thinking of me. Right.
And it does help me where then like literally I feel like it is like I catch myself in the act of building up that wall where I'm like I'm midway through and I'm like, oh wait, hey, just realized I'm doing this. Do you want this? No, you don't? Okay, like this is a good place where I can
This
stop
is
and
I didn't
not a
waste
big
the whole
deal.
day, so I'll just take it
Yeah.
down. Yeah, and I think this is like legit, like this is what it's about. Like what we're talking about is the value here from a like
Yeah.
male endeavor into the space perspective. Is like women are reading this as entertainment because it's fun, it's an escapism, it's like exploring ideas. But from the male perspective, like we're learning about desire in a way that we've never engaged with.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big
that's
time.
so valuable that I don't think it's really talked about enough.
Again, like it's dealing with these feelings and emotions that are not normal for men to like to wade through and to like to weigh on just like on your in a normal day throughout a day of like all these different things that you're going on. We are so stuck in just the hyper masculine or the super aggressive side of
Yeah.
things.
Well, and I think
This
like
is new.
it's a funny space that we're like coming into, right? As a society where it's like our parents were in this like what we call like toxic masculinity, right? Where it's like men don't cry and like this is what it means to be a man and like all these things that we've all heard kind of growing up. And then like there's a like for I think mostly positive, but like it swung the other way where it's like, oh, it's okay to feel, it's okay to cry, and it's like express yourself in different ways. And like masculinity, in a sense, has become a little bit of a third rail, kind of like don't talk about it that much because like it's kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But, like, and again, I think mostly positive. I will say myself, but we're in a weird middle ground now where it's like I've lost the, or we've, like, again, broad strokes, we've lost the ability to somewhat understand what it means to be like a masculine person without tying it to the toxicity of the past.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
hard.
It is because it's not like that's a part of it. I don't, and I actually do appreciate this where it's like I don't feel bad for feeling hyper protective. Like I and I don't want to feel bad for that
Yeah.
because that's
And
just it comes from a good place of like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I think in a really good relationship it's like you don't communicating that is what's key, and then you shouldn't have to then like feel bad of like, oh hey, I thought you needed me to show up this way. I thought you needed me to kick this guy's ass.
Yeah, yeah. I thought you wanted me to beat his ass.
Yeah, but no, you don't, and that's cool. And like like it's good. I want you to appreciate that I'm willing to do that. Also, I appreciate that you don't need me to do that because I actually don't want to.
I don't also want to do that. No, and I think this is like what I love about this exploration we're going on is that fact. It's like I'm not sure how to be a quote unquote masculine person, masculine man anymore because of like the mixed signals in society, right? Like I'm not trying to put too many labels or get like weird political with it, but we're kind of in this flux, right? And what this book and this genre is kind of like exploring is like that is a desire, but men have been misinterpreting it
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time. And like it's pretty clear, at least, like it's bubbling up for me at least, where it's like back again to like the false walls that we're building is like this idea of like we assume protection means X, and toxic masculinity, past masculinity, didn't care to understand. And like that's the toxicness of it. That's what made it
right,
toxic. Is like
right.
I don't care to understand whether you want this or not. This is what it means to be protective. So go fuck yourself, right? Like that was all it was. And like the nuance now is like I can be protective. I can be masculine with consent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so what's super interesting, right, is because you could get into that protection space and you then get so wrapped up in it that you become violent and you become scary
You become
and
the
it's like
beast, right? You become the
yeah,
enemy.
yeah, and it's like all of a sudden you are on that same side. Like you're outside of the you built this wall,
And then
you
you put
jumped
yourself on
over,
the
you're
other
on the
side of it.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
The analogy
dude,
is good.
like that's you're scary now too. And don't come back over this wall while
Right.
you're this fucked up beast. Like,
Totally. And
and we
it
miss that.
happens
We miss that.
really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it is like this is I okay, we're at an hour, and so I feel like we got to be careful not to keep
I go
going
too far.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
this.
this is, I think, what was awesome about this last like 15, 20 minutes is like, this is the underneath layer of all of the books, what we're talking about. And I think this is what I'm hoping as we kind of do more and more of these, like, this is the discussion topic is like, what are we misunderstanding and what could we do better through this hierarchy of like female desire?
Yeah, yeah. I think in most cases, it's less action, a little more communication, a little more listening.
It's super
Uh,
basic, right? Like it's relatively basic, but it's simple, not easy.
right, exactly, exactly. And with that, let's cut to my second favorite part of the book, a very aggressive and
Oh yes. Okay, now I know where you're going. Yes, yes.
gnarly scene. Um, all right, so Matt is the antagonist, right? He's a piece of shit to Blakely. He in losing Blakely to Riot and Matt then become like enemies. We get this is like the very end of the book. We get the scene where they've like captured Matt and they have Matt tied up, and Riot has sex with Blakely. And then they cut to the scene, and then they're like, Bryant is like kind of showing Blakely, like, "Yo, look what I have for you. I've captured Matt, your enemy." Um, and this again, this kind of problematic scene where Matt's tied to this chair. Riot turns to Blakely, and he's like, "Take your panties off," and Blakely's like, "Yo, what?" Um, and Riot's like, don't question me. How dare you question me? Take your panties off right now. And Blakely's like, oh my God, okay, I guess I will. Takes her panties off, and then Riot takes them and pulls like Matt's gag down, is like shoves it in his mouth. And there's a like moment where Matt's like, oh, whoa, like you're,
Yeah.
my ex's panties, your wife's panties. This is hot. And then Riot's like, yo, we had sex just a little bit ago, and that's my cum on those panties.
It's like come dripping on those panties.
Yeah,
And then
like
he's
they're
like,
wet. They're wet from my dick. And then Matt's like, oh, like,
yeah,
and then like I think right before that he had to like re-duct tape his mouth, so it's like,
it's stuck in there. Yeah.
yeah, intense. Yeah. Talking about emasculating another man. I feel like that's it right there. And they do talk about it where it's like, oh, the fact that he thought it was just like Blakely's pussy, but jokes on him, it's my cum. It's like, okay, it's fucked up. I get it. Like that was a
Yeah. It was
good move.
it's
Checkmate.
funny because like it even takes on a silly metaphor of like us against you, uh, kind of thing, which is wild, right? But it's funny because like you see it, right? It's like he's doing it to be like uber man and like take his masculinity away, but there's a little layer of like me and her are one, and we're against you. Choke on this, fucker.
Hats off to you, Chantel. You captured the masculine a daydream extremely well of like,
I will say that like it's obviously in the extreme, like right. I'm not saying like this is how guys interact, but she did do a good job of like painting this like Ultraman kind of space of like this is what a super tough guy looks like without being too like it is over the top, but like it felt on beat though. Like
it's a little over the top. It's a
yeah,
little over the
it's
top.
over the top,
It's
but it's I feel like it's hitting beats that is like okay, I get it, I get it, I get it. It's extreme, obviously, but I did feel like she did a good enough job where it's not like just
it's
a wild.
extreme, but it's not totally ridiculous, and it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
totally absurd. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's not absurd. It is ridiculous. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's within the realm of like, okay, you're
I
not
can see
wrong. I
myself
get
doing
it.
that. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh boy.
But that's when it gets like it's the story takes on like such a like thriller vibe at that point. Like it's no longer like this like sexual consequence, even though that's still part of it. Like there's still smut involved. It's like now it's like a like murder thriller at the end, which I thought was
Yeah,
a good like way to keep the the story going because like once we get the like closure of like oh she wants to be raped, just kidding. But oh she's this is consenting, then the story takes a turn and you're like oh wow now I'm suspense and like excited about the narrative,
yeah.
not just this story.
I do think I you make a really good point in that in a lot of these stories, that like scene of consent, um there are some of the books where it's like that is the drama, is getting to that point of consent. And when you get there, you either like something else has to be an inciting incident, or like you're at the end of your story and it's like then you need to have your like denouement, where it's like okay, here we go, we're just gonna wrap this up. And the books that are really enjoyable so far, and like, and this isn't, I'm not saying this has to be the case, I'm just so far what we've read, they do have addition, like an inciting incident after that. Like there's the scene of consent, and then it's like there's additional story to it.
Yeah, there's a new
Yeah,
issue. There's a new enemy other than the tense. Like, is this okay? Is this not okay? Totally. I do think that shift is an important part of like a good smart book, or at least from so far, like you said, so far.
yeah, yeah. So speaking of good smut books, what would you rate this one in terms of smuttiness and then story?
Smuttiness. Are we doing 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10? I don't remember.
We're at 1 out of 10 because we're giving out like we need that range.
The 1 out of 10 spunniness, I'd give it. It's not quite pucking around, but it's not like you know what is the Akatar? It's not Akatar, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's probably like a good 7.5 for me. 7.5, maybe eight, maybe eight. Let's just give it an
Yeah.
eight. Let's give it an eight.
I love, I feel like that's what we gave pucking around.
Really? Well, now I we need to rescale, which is hard. We almost
But
have to have like a running number because like pucking around is probably a 9.5. Or
maybe,
am
I
I
don't know.
just giving this too high of a score?
No, I mean, this is a pretty dirty book and there's a lot of sex scenes. And I feel like every chance Riot gets, he's like, we're fucking.
Yeah, yeah. It's
As soon as
throughout the
he's
book.
with
Yeah,
Blakely, yeah, he's like, we're fucking. What like he's like, what is that? You dropped that napkin?
yeah. Stay down there because we're fucking.
We're fucking.
Good.
He saves Blakely's life. She is covered in blood because he fucking slits the guy's throat, and he's like, now that we're back together after 3 weeks, we're fucking. I don't really care that you're covered in blood. Yeah, like
Definitely, definitely.
again,
Lots
he's
of
like
tech.
panties in your ex's mouth. We're fucking.
Yeah. It's
um,
nonstop. It's nonstop.
it is nonstop. They do.
I mean, honestly, it. I think I my score holds. I think it's close
Yeah,
too.
I'm defending your score
Yeah.
is what I'm
No, no.
saying.
I was like, oh, I'm panicking, but no, I think you're right. I actually agree. I actually agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Okay. You said 7.5. Hold on. Story. Give your story one
Oh,
out of
sorry.
10.
Okay. Honestly, at the beginning, I was like, this is a 4 or a 5. But I do think towards the end, the thriller aspect to it, the eloquent way that they explained raid fantasy, I think gives it some points. So like I'm raising it up to probably a good like 6, like a 6.5 maybe, but a 6, a solid 6 because like those two elements, like great thriller aspect, and I do think that that like explanation of raid fantasy was well said, well written.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Okay. I fully agree on terms of spiciness. 7.5. Like there were parts we keep coming back to pucking around like it's the quintessential book. It's not,
Yeah,
but
the first
there
one
were scenes
we went into, so it was like kind of the marker for
there's
us.
there's still scenes in that where I blushed and was like, "Oh, good God." And I didn't have that in this one. So I think that is a good like barometer. Um but there is a ton of sex in this one and it's a pretty wide variety.
Relatively intense,
So
like
yeah.
violent kind of
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think 7.5 is a good one. For story for me, even though I really like that description of that one scene, I'm still I think a 5
Yeah, yeah.
ish.
I
Like
I was there. I was there for most of it, and I think there's just a few little elements that kicked it up for me.
yeah, it's a little hard in terms of story, but again, like it's a good romance novel. It's fun. It's pretty for the most part pretty lighthearted. Like
Well,
if you want dark, it has dark. If you
the hard
want
thing is we came off of Lights Out, which was like one of the top ones, or the top one so far for me.
Lights Out was good. Lights Out was like I want to be possessed by Jake. No, sorry. I want Josh. No, I mean fuck.
Yeah, that one was
No,
really good. It was so well done. It was funny. It was action.
that
It was
one was
sexy.
good.
All of it was good.
Yeah, that one was just so much fun, and the narrators are good.
The
That's
narrators are
another
really good.
problem that
Yeah,
I had with this book is the male narrator
was over.
felt like
Yeah.
he was not as bad as Credence. Credence was so bad. Oh my god, that
That
was so
one was
bad.
rough. Yeah.
Um, like there was no point where I had to stop in this because the male narrator was so bad. But it was like, yo, this is weird. Why you like? It feels like you're trying to record a Carl's Jr. commercial. Like, just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. He is like
don't lower your voice
lowering,
so much.
yeah, lowering his Adam's apple, just being like, My name's
In a world where my dick is in your mouth. Like, bro, please.
He's off. He's off. No,
Yeah.
totally. I do agree with the narration was not as good as Lights Out at all. Lights Out was so well done that this one felt like, oh, come on, you could be better. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. The lights out. I like had looked up the male narrator, and you saw all these posts where everyone loved him, and I was like, yeah, me too.
So good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. No. So the narration threw me off. I think that's a part of why I feel where I'm like, it's a little lower. But honestly, like there are plenty of books that I would rate out of 5 or around a 5 that I would still recommend to other people and just say like, this is fun. Read it
Yeah.
for fun.
Right.
Don't read it for any other reason. And this one I would say like read it like there's a really good description of what exploring sexuality is.
Yeah, I think like again, just for that reason, I think it's worth a read for that specifically. It's like, wow, I feel completely different. I feel like I understand this differently. Learned a lot. Yeah, learned a ton on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So try it. Let us know what
Give
you
it a shot.
think.
And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. We'll see what the next one is.
What is our next one going to be? Do we have any?
What is it? Don Juan Velociraptor?
I kind of want, and I kind of want. I'm not ready to go into the absurd yet. And when we go absurd, I want to read that marshmallow.
That's literally one on the top of my mind is that the sentient marshmallow feels like the has to be the first one into the absurd.
I don't know why I'm so caught on that one, but I am, and
It's
that's where that's the Salvador Dali for me.
yes, yes. I think it's gonna be fun because it can only be humorous, right? Like it's gonna be wild, it's gonna be funny. So I'm excited for when we cross that bridge.
I feel like cut to, this is a solid 8 for me.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but this is an 8. Spiciness 10, narrative 8.
Story 8. Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
we'll let you know. We'll find the next one and we'll get another one going.
Yep. Stay tuned.
All right, on to the next one.